I was born October 16, 2002, in or near Yangzhou, China, and was found outside the gate of a busy factory just a couple of days old. Immediately brought to the Yangzhou orphanage, I spent my first 18 months there, being taken care of by nannies until my parents adopted me and brought me to America. The decision to adopt me completely changed the course of my life, but little did they know it would change their lives as well. My parents gave me the best life in America, giving me a sense of belonging in the world. From the very beginning, they gave me a safe, loving environment, letting me flourish, something that I would never have been able to do in an orphanage. I grew up with so many opportunities, and I lacked in nothing. I had a family to call my own, my brothers, sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles, grandmas, and grandpas. And although we do not share the same blood, we are family in every sense of the word. Relations aren't just made of blood. It's forged by the people you can count on for help when you need it, and to celebrate life's joys with. They help you through the maze of life and set you on the course for a bright and promise-filled future. When you live in an orphanage, life is mostly about surviving to the next day, and you often have to fight to get your basic needs met. There are not people to encourage you to do one's very best or to try new and exciting things. You have to take care of yourself once the nannies, not you, decide you are old enough to do so. There are no parents to cuddle the frightened children until they go to sleep, and no person to confide with one's deepest secrets and fears. When you grow up in an orphanage, you most likely will not even receive an education, for it would be too expensive. Although most nannies try their best to take care of every child in the orphanage, every child has more than just a couple of needs that are still neglected. Some needs are needs that nannies cannot even meet, such as a loving family. The adoption of me and my brothers changed that for all of us. My education started at Dickinson Elementary School. Had I not been adopted, my life would not have and still be so open to possibilities as it is now. Currently, I go to school, do karate, I'm a black belt, and play piano, things that I would have completely been shut off to me in an orphanage. If my parents did not adopt me, I may have been adopted to another family, or I could have aged out. The aging out age is 14. If I was very fortunate, I would have been able to stay at the orphanage and become a nanny, caring for the other children. Having the job of the nanny isn't the best job, but it is better than living out on the cruel streets. The unfortunate circumstances that many face is being thrust out into the streets, forced to find a job in a nearby village, or starved to death. Because I was adopted, I have the option to study the profession I desire, which is neurosurgery. But being adopted also has its challenges. I've been bullied for being Chinese. Peers made fun of me for having different shaped eyes and tan skin. I first ignored it, but it got to the point of multiple kids in class staring at me and mocking my differences as if I were an alien. Feeling ostracized, I tried telling them that I was no different from them and that I had feelings too, but they ignored me. Realizing that it was my decision to be offended or not, I decided not to be. I ignored their teasing. They were doing it because they were ignorant. If they were educated about the Chinese, as well as adoption, they would not be laughing at me. Eventually, the taunts died down, since I got no reaction. It feels strange to be Chinese and American, and it feels like I'm torn between the nationalities. I hate when I hear people belittling Chinese, finding faults that are very similar to their own. I have accepted being adopted, and have not let any doubts of it hold me back from my full potential. Being an adoptee makes me no different from anyone else. The only thing that troubles me is that I don't know my biological parents or why they gave me up. That is the only question that cannot be solved, and that frustrates me. But I don't let it weigh me down. I accept the fact that I will not know them and continue on with life. But sometimes it is hard to define who I am. Am I Chinese, or can I be both American and Chinese? That is a conflict that I face. I was born in China, and my adopted brothers are from China as well, but my life is in America as well as my friends, family, and home. It is really hard to know where I belong, China or America. Not knowing who my parents are is very hard. I always wondered who they were and what my life would have been like if I stayed with them in China. I will never know, since I was adopted at 1.5 years. Some of my questions I think about are, do I have any biological siblings? Are my biological grandparents still alive? Is there any way, however minute the chances, of finding my biological parents? how would I react if I saw them? My biggest impact in the world right now is with my parents. When they adopted me, unknowingly I changed their hearts and opened their eyes to the bigger needs of the world. My mother currently works for Love Without Boundaries, a non-profit organization that helps orphans get an education, proper nutrition, and medical care. She does monthly reports on a group of children, stating their health, characteristics, and needs. Since my adoption, they have adopted 2 other children from China with special needs. But that does not deter them, or I, for that matter. My parents and I accept their needs and know they are special and no different from anyone else, and I love them no different than one would love their biological siblings. Our family is in the process of adopting a little girl of 5 with a rare heart disease, and her condition does not stop us from giving her the loving home she deserves. But we cannot help every orphan child, which is heartbreaking. During my multiple trips to China, I visited 2 orphanages and was deeply saddened. There were little boys and girls, playing in a courtyard or room, not knowing the love of a family. I hoped, and still do, that someday they will know what it's like to be cherished by a family who will guard and guide them through life. I have also visited some foster homes, and that made me sad and happy. Although their living conditions were not stellar, they had a family who loved them and took care of them. They were so happy and have a family to call their own until they found a permanent home. I felt happy for them, happy that they had someone to call Mama and Papa, the Chinese address for Mom and Dad. Think about how you and others could help adoptees find a home, either by actually adopting them or by contributing by a foundation. You help innocent children have futures. Even though I don't know exactly my whole contribution to the world, the reason I have the chance was because I was adopted.